And we are live. Hey, folks, welcome to another edition of On the Icebox with Iceberg Briggs. My guest today is the one and only Bricky Place, who comes from Denmark. Just found out. And so this is a special edition of On the Icebox. We will learn about our good friend Bricky Place. And if you don't know where to follow him, please go to the Instagram. And it's his Instagram is Bricky Place. You'll be able to find him there. That's where I found him. And he has quite the variety of Lego mocks. So without further ado, hey, how you doing, man?
Well, hello. My name is Frederick. I am the owner of Bricky Place. I am also doing sort of sharing the account with Briggs to go. So we're sort of doing this co thing. But currently it's just me today because he lives in Canada.
Okay.
So
okay, all right. So what is Bricky Place?
Well, it's basically started out just as me posting on my personal Instagram account as, well, just me wanting to build a Lego city. And I quickly found out that my my personal following did not want to see Lego. So I was like, okay, well, I'll make a new account. So that's when Bricky Place basically the name came up. I spent a long time trying to find a name that was not too something bricks after it. No offense to your name, but it's like you just want to stand out somehow, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, how can I do this? And basically, the whole thing is that you're basically at this place where you can do Lego stuff, right? So.
Right. Okay. So, tell me, how'd you get into Lego? How'd you start this big adventure that we're on?
Well, when did I not start? Is how I should put it. I'm pretty sure that I got my first Lego set when I was about 2 or 3 years old. Or actually more like 3 or 4. But I have like an old cassette tape of me saying, "Please don't do that" to a sheriff. Well, we have the set on the PowerPoint, but it's basically just a set of a sheriff and basically who stole some money. So a cassette tape back in, like, I don't know, 98 or something.
Now, for the millennials, and for this is a learning purpose here, for the millennials, please explain what a cassette tape is.
Well, a cassette tape is like, I used to have one of those. Oh, it's actually here. It's older than a diskette because I actually have one of those. That's at least what we call it in Danish. One of these, it's basically a floppy drive in American, right? But sort of like these, just, I don't know, 20 years older or something. They're basically like this size, maybe a little bit added more. Basically like a VHS. If you don't know what a VHS is, Google it. But basically, it's a smaller version of that that could only record audio instead of both audio and video. See it like a CD versus a DVD.
Right.
So
okay. All right. So, tell us, what you partner up with my good friend Briggs to go, and you're making this new wave. Putting a spin on the Lego. What is your Lego aspirations, and what's the next big adventure?
Well, I am currently building my Lego city. I am specifically interested in trains. So, well, not necessarily as much as transit bricks is, but I'm pretty interested in trains, I would say, because I commute daily. So like I've started to notice a few things about the trains and stuff. But the whole thing, like the thing that I'm looking most forward to is my log. We have an exhibition in well, it was actually supposed to be in my hometown, but it's not going to be that either, right? But I'll be bringing my entire train layout to contribute to a layout of things based on a standard called Moduverse.
Okay.
Which I completely forgot about. Basically, a Moduverse is basically a sort of like the Mills standard. Basically, just a way, instead of building on base plates, you build on modules that you can then you have the flexibility of adding things below ground. So if you want to, let's say, make a construction site, or maybe there's a construction on the road, you can add depth instead of just using the regular old road plates that Lego does. So you have a lot of more what do you call that? More flexibility, I would say.
Okay.
And if you add a few more plates, you can actually fit in a power functions motor into the module itself, so you can hide it in there. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Huh. I definitely got to check that out, man. I definitely want to know more. So tell me, can you describe your work that you do with Lego?
Well, I would say I'm 50% getting inspired and 50% trying to build my own stuff. The whole partnership with Briggs to Co came up when I was trying to build my train station. I was like, this guy is doing some pretty great stuff, and like, he's more into the sort of building the, let's say, the component, or rather the building itself, where I'm more infrastructure or standardizing things. So I was like, okay, this guy can probably help me with the specific building. I had what do you call that? I got a huge box at the Scareback Fan Weekend, which is like this huge global exhibition in Denmark, where a lot AVOLs from all over the world travel to Denmark and then are there for like 3 or 4 days. You could get a brick box there, which is basically just a collection of secondhand Lego that Lego actually puts in boxes, and they're like, well, let's say as a set box broke, and then there's bricks everywhere. Then they just take all those pieces and then put them into a huge bin. That bin will then be sorted into small boxes that you can then purchase.
Okay.
And fortunately for me, I got one of the boxes that included a Ghostbusters firehouse, at least 80% of it.
Right.
But I didn't have the parts to do the last 20%. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to build something with this, right? So I went out to Bricky, well, not Bricky Place, that's myself, Bricks to Go, and I was like, dude, I got these parts. Can you sort of try to help me here? Because I tried to get started with something, and then he was like, sure. And then every time he threw something at me, so I was like, no, can we do it like this way? And then I sort of, like, I got really inspired by what he did, and then I just sort of changed it. So like, but I think it was a pretty good collaboration, and I'm like we are we can't contribute to each other's minds pretty well, I would say.
Okay.
So
you belong to a lug group. Tell me about your lug group.
Yeah, well, it's actually the only lug in Denmark. It's called Byggepladen, which is basically just base plate, put it very simply, or building plate for that matter. It's our lug, so we have all the benefits of having the R lug status. Which is well, there's some things that I can talk about, but basically we can get the ability to ask Lego for support for a layout, for example, and then that layout has to be shown at specific or X amount of events, so that we still promote the Lego brand, but that we can then use their parts. There was a huge, a very, very large Lego Star Wars event at Legoland, which was actually a huge layout by our log, and then they got people to build like small modules with just tiles, where people would have to set up about, I think it was 2,000 stormtroopers or something, and then they made a huge hangar around it, so people could contribute and just make the modules, and then they integrated people's building into that, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
So it's basically like we have a closer connection to Lego and have some benefits to that, as opposed to just a regular log, just 5 guys being like, well, we should do something sometime, right? Sort of like the DMV bros, right?
So sort of like that, yeah. That's pretty cool. So tell me what's unique about your building process, and do you allow others to see that process?
Well, speaking of the just like we talked about before with Briggs 2, I try as much as possible to involve. I have a very dedicated friend from Italy who is like, everything I post, he's like, this is great, this is awesome. So every time I'm doing something, I'm like, how does this look? Even though he's gonna say the exact same thing, I'm like, just want to let you know, because I can tell that he's a pretty large fan of what I do. Okay. I think that I get inspired by the things that are around me, I would say. Like a Villa train station, because I commute a lot. I've done a what do you call that? Cargo terminal. Because my girlfriend's dad, or rather stepdad, is a truck driver. So it's like different things. I also, like, half a year ago I met a homeless at the station, and he was like, it was a learning experience for me, because like we sat down and talked for a while. So like I added that homeless guy to the layout afterwards, just sitting somewhere. So it was like, I'm trying to take different things from real life and add that to my layout. My cousin runs a coffee shop in basically a camping wagon. And they have basically turned that into a transportable coffee machine shop, right? So I added her and the camping wagon with coffee and stuff into the layout as well. So it's different things from reality that I'm just adding into, so that it feels familiar, sort of, I would say.
Okay. So when you building, do you build with any significant others, brothers, sisters, kids, or your significant others?
Well, I'm trying. I tried to get my girlfriend to build with me. It's not that easy, because she's not that into Lego. I got the New York architecture set for her that she could build with me while I was doing some train stuff. She finished it, which is pretty amazing, and it's actually one of the things that are actually allowed to be in the living room.
Okay.
But it's in there. It's pretty. But it's pretty hard to attract her in here. So like, well, I have my dog. Blackie, would you like to come say hi? Come on. No? Okay, he's sleeping.
Well, gave it up.
Well, he's always in here. He has a pillow right behind my chair. So every time I come home, he's like, he comes out of here because he's waiting for me in the office, even though there's no lights. He's just lying here. And then he comes out, and then he's like, yay, now we can go in and build Lego. And then he just lies on his pillow, and then he's ready to go. So well, you can't really say I'm building with my dog, but we sort of have a sort of random relationship about that.
Okay. So do you have any other hobbies outside of Lego that you bring over into Lego?
Well, I'm a full-time web developer, so well, I'm sort of trying to make sort of a startup headquarters part, but right now it's just my office in Lego that I've sort of tried to build, but I don't I'm sort of trying to keep them apart, I think. But more the train stuff is more another hobby that I've recently discovered after I've met some of the people from the log that I know a thing or two about trains apparently. So like and I've become a fan of some trains that I used for a commute. Now and back in the day when I was studying to become a web developer, which those trains are pretty close to my heart, so I'm probably gonna end up building them in Lego. We have a guy in the log that's pretty good at designing those models, so so it's also a collaborative process with him about designing those trains, and he's actually given me access to one of his models that he has made instructions for, but are not actually public yet. Just so like I can, because he's made the old version and it's gotten a new paint job, and I want to build the new version, the one that they currently have. So he gave me the instructions, so I was like, sure, go ahead. So I'm sort of working on that. It's not a priority, but it's one of those things that's gonna happen sometime. Like you can sort of compare it to Jank Briggs, the sort of galactic thing that he's working on. The defense base that's never getting done, but it's there temporarily.
It's a work in progress. Yeah, I'm trying to get my buddy CKB his project up. You know, he do a little bit and he puts some off, and he does a little bit and he puts some off. So you know, he's a real Picasso. You know, it just delay the time, taking the time, building it up. You know,
things take time, man. You can't force the creative process. I learned that last week.
Speaking of time, you mentioned that you were a stop motion artist at one point.
Yeah,
tell us about that.
Well, I was. Well, I was a back. Let's go back in time again to about when I was about 4. I did the whole Lego thing. Then I slowly grew up, started to like Star Wars. And then, like, one day I saw Lego had a competition with Star Wars stop motion. And I was like, movies with Lego? How do you do that? Like, I'd seen stop motion, I just didn't know what it was. And then I saw this huge community on YouTube, like, back in 2008, 2009. And I was like, I don't know, 10 years old by then.
Right.
Must have been 13 or something. Well, people are firing fireworks outside. So you can probably hear my dogs reacting to that.
Firework.
But yeah, then I started to get into the whole community about that. I tried. Like, there's a limitation as to how much you can do when you're 11 to 12 years old. But I was trying, but I didn't try hard enough. I was leaving a lot of my talent behind. I don't know why, but I did. And then like I started to do stop motion, but it wasn't like up to the same quality as the other people were doing, but I still got into the community. That's the reason why my accent is a bit random, because it's a combination of American and British English. But it's also like when you talk to Danes, you can really hear that they have a specific accent, whereas mine is sort of all over the place. If it's not more American. Because I've talked to so many people around the world because of stop motion and because of Lego, that's amazing to me. Like, I'm pretty sure it's shaped about a lot of who I am today. Like being able to talk to you right now, I probably wouldn't be able to do that if I hadn't done that when I was like 10, 11.
I think you're probably actually the first person I ever talked to that was from Denmark. So yeah. Well, I think this position, being in this position, actually allows me to travel the world without traveling the world. So, is building Lego therapeutic for you? Is the stuff therapeutic? I mean, or it's just strictly enjoyment?
Well, I think it is actually. It allows me to relax when I get home from a long day of work. I would say, hang on, just my dog is annoying. You can just hang on a second.
All right.
Go here, Faden. Yeah, come on. you go. Yeah. See? There you go. I think she just wants to say hi. She's a little bit dark, so you can't see her. But she's a very careful little dog.
Okay.
But, that's why she's she usually lies right next to the door, and then she's sort of trying to protect our home. I'm sorry, I got completely sidetracked there.
No, you're all right. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. So what was your most difficult project?
Well, difficult project. I would say the train station again, because I like it was through many like very different iterations, which you will see later in the slides, that there was a whole lot of different things, and I was very limited with parts on hand, because I'm trying as much as possible to not do too many brickling orders and stuff.
Okay.
Because I have limited space in here, and I don't just want to fill it up. It's probably going to happen, but I don't want to do it within like a year. So I'm trying to limit myself with the parts that I have, which sort of made it difficult, not only for me but also for Isaiah, Briggs to go, because like he didn't have a whole lot of parts to do with.
Right.
And then,
I remember saying that.
Like the roof was a complete disaster, because I didn't have like 1x2 plates in the same color, like something as simple as that. I didn't have enough to do the thing that I wanted to do. And then I fortunately I discovered that I had some lying around in a random bin that I could then use.
Okay.
The whole project was like, can we sort of just turn it a little bit, and then it'll sort of work. So it's like, it's changed a lot. You'll see.
Okay. All right. We will. Tell me how important is the Lego community, and with that I say, like the social media. Tell me what, how important is that to you and your builds?
Well, I would love to get more feedback than what I do now. I really take feedback like graciously, because like I think it's important to listen to what other people have to say, but you also have to stay true to yourself. Like you have to listen to what people are saying about you, and then figure out if that is a thing that you agree with or not.
Okay.
So like I think it's a matter of personal opinion, and figuring out where you are as yourself. But like currently in our log, there's a lot of discussion, which I don't really understand. Like it seems more about pointing fingers, which unfortunately, like there's people like you that are keeping neutral, and just like embracing the hobby, instead of like this whole thing about the log just trying to like it sort of feels like it's ripping itself apart.
Right.
It's like I have a comparison. It's like when metal genres try to label each other, like they try to stand out instead of just embracing the fact that they're a huge community in the world. And then they're like, no, it's this subgenre of rock, and then they're like, no, it's death metal, and then it's like metalcore. Like, just stop. Like, can you just embrace the fact that, like, I don't understand that. That's the same exact thing that's happening within our lug. Unfortunately, some of us, which I think is a waste of time. So like, but I think I try as much as possible to listen to what people have to say, but there's not a whole lot of comments on the account yet, because it's not very old. But I would love to like listen to people's feedback once I get the feedback, of course.
Okay. All right. So which one of your builds are you the most satisfied with?
Oh man. I'm gonna have to point at the train station again.
The train station. Okay. All right. I mean, we all have that one starship. and I can
Yeah.
agree. I can agree to that. We all have that one starship where it could be the most difficult thing that we accomplish, and it becomes joy. So I could definitely relate. I had a project or two that I felt the same way about. Um, but tell me, what's the most memorable interaction you had with someone regarding your Lego hobby?
Oh man. Oh well, I think it must have been uh just when I was about to enter my dark age. I think it was when I was about 13, 15.
Hmm.
One of my friends was people were starting to um sort of split me out of the from the groups, or rather the groups, because I was doing Lego stuff. Like, it's not normal for a 13-year-old boy to be playing with Lego still, right? So
Okay.
they were sort of trying to not trying, but they sort of started to. And this guy was like, "Just go home and play with your Legos." And I was like, "You know what?
Hmm.
I will," because it's it's it was it was a weird thing, because it felt like people were turning their backs on me, even though they were like, all schools are separated into different groups, and we were all already
Hmm.
at the low hierarchy, being called nerds. So
Hmm.
like, this guy just stepping like one step up and putting me one step further down was pretty weird.
Hmm.
But I also think that it gave me the whole, like, I'll show you sort of mentality, which I think I still have today. Like, the
Okay.
whole will to show people that you can do something and that you can prove something to them,
Hmm.
which I think is pretty important
Okay.
when
Okay.
you have a passion. Like, that's probably one of the reasons why it's turned into a passion for me.
Okay. That's definitely called perseverance, and I'm actually remember that because I'm actually something a little bit later on. But yeah, you definitely have perseverance. Like you say, what we do to us. This is our inside stuff. So this is the inside, and that's what I could totally agree. This is our inside stuff. So we're insiders, but to the outsiders looking in, they think we're a little bit different, and
Yeah,
that's fine. That's
it's
okay.
fine. Like, it's just like it's hard when you were a 13-year-old boy to get such a comment from somebody that you know that well.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
actually became great friends afterwards. After that, like, we just sort of started talking, then that happened, and then we became pretty great friends because he was being honest to me.
Mhm.
Like, and today I also have a few colleagues that are very honest, like, to the point where it's like, you probably shouldn't say that out loud, but like, they like, I really appreciate the honesty that people have, instead of just trying to package it into, like, sometimes there can be too many layers of kindness
Right.
in that
Right.
that like in that sense. So maybe
Mhm.
I've just become, like, I don't know, ironed out, basically,
Right.
gotten some rough corners, so that I can handle the things that people say to me, I would say.
Yeah. I got you. I got you. Hey, folks, this is Iceberg Bricks, and you are watching on the Icebox with Iceberg Bricks. This is the second half of the show where we go straight to the audio tape. Now we go straight to the PowerPoint. We'll look at some of work that Bricky Place has provided for us, and he'll explain these pieces of work that he's done. All right. So let me share my screen. Hold on. So during this, I don't know if you know, they can't see you, they can't see me, they just see the PowerPoint which is provided.
Yes.
Um, all right. Welcome to On the Icebox with Iceberg Bricks. Our guest tonight is Bricky Place. How did you come up with your sig fit?
Well, it's actually been dating back to one of the first Lego racing sets that I got.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then shortly afterwards, I actually started playing some of those cheap Lego games that you could get, like Lego Racers and Lego Racers 2,
Okay.
Legoland, Lego Rock Raiders. All those games actually inspired me later to become a developer. I actually wanted to become a game developer
Okay.
for Lego games actually, like at the
Okay.
age of 6. So
Yeah.
that's like that whole sig fig must have done something, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Inspiration. Not too bad. Not too bad. All right. So tell us about this right here.
Well, that's of course me. um, and the thing on the right is my first ever Lego set. And as I
Okay.
said previously, that was the guy, the sheriff, was trying to take the money from the robber. And then
Okay.
I have an old audio clip of me saying, "No, don't do that. That's too dangerous," or something. With my
Uh-huh.
mom, like sitting next to my mom and saying that on that audio clip is pretty funny. Like that's one of the first memories I have of Lego. Um, and
Okay.
then
Okay.
it carried on from then. Like my brother is 9 years older than me, so like I think both his music and also his interests in video, which happened to the whole stop motion thing, and also
Okay.
his enthusiasm for Lego, which also turned into the whole 9 volt thing. I think a lot of what my brother has been interested in, I've sort of tried. Like you always know, the little brother is always trying to get involved. Um,
Okay.
I've tried to, or rather, I've been inspired to see what about the things he was doing, and then I just tried
Mhm.
to do them on my own, basically. So I
Okay.
think like he had a lot of Lego when I was born. So like I could see it through the cage that I had.
Hmm.
Um, next to his door because it was always blocked because babies can't go into their older brother's room when he's playing with
Right.
Lego, right?
Right. Right. Very true. Very true.
So so basically, yeah, like uh well, there's a few things about me. I'm a full-time web developer. I
Okay.
I got that job about 3 years ago, almost 3 years
Hmm.
ago.
Hmm.
I was at the point where I got the basic web developing course, and I was like, okay, well, you have 3/4 of a year to find a job, and then you can continue with the rest of the course if you don't get a job until then. So I was like, okay, well, I don't want to get back on the school chair because I hate school. Or rather, I don't hate school. I hate the way that they were like me doing something that I didn't want to do. So
Yeah.
that was not interesting to me, and
Okay.
that also carried from high school. Um, so me not doing something that I don't want to is really hard. um,
Yeah.
but then I went on and was like, okay, well, I'll try to see how many applications I can send out, and then I sent about 50 to 60 job applications and got about 10 interviews, and then I got the one job that I still have today, which
Hmm.
is pretty amazing.
Okay.
Um,
All right. So you ever regret not having the opportunity to actually work for Lego? Like you said, you
well,
wanted to. You had aspirations to making video games for Lego.
yeah, well, actually, I've been looking into the opportunity, but I've been thinking about like doing what Briggs is doing because he's detached but also connected to Lego. I think that's a very healthy thing instead of just being directly connected to Lego always and them controlling what you're publishing.
Hmm.
I think that's a very healthy very healthy thing to do.
Okay. Okay. So you have quite the Star Wars collection I see here. Is this your
Well,
collection?
Well, most of it is. There's a lot of small battle droids and super battle droids that were not mine, but most of that stuff right there is mine. Again, back to the whole stop motion thing I was doing. I had collected a lot of Lego Star Wars sets. My first one was actually the Darth Vader with Darth Sidious set, like way back. I think that's from 2003 or something. So that was my first Star Wars set. Like, and then I didn't collect that for a while because I hadn't seen the movies. But I think I saw the number 4 when I was 5 or something. Like, it's not that scary. It was scary at that point. Like, but I think it was a wise choice for my parents to show me that at 5 because it was all right. Like it sparked something in me, as you can tell. I have most of these things still. I just don't have them on display. They take up way too much space than what I have space for currently. But like, there's a few figures in there that don't look like regular minifigures, and there's a very good reason for that. I was doing custom minifigures, like trying to print out things, and trying with different Sharpies, and like I ruined a lot of Lego through that. You can probably imagine.
Bricky Place is gonna hate you.
Well, like you can probably see there's 2 red ones in the middle, sort of. The one with the red fin is called Captain Argus, I think it was, or Acros, from some sort of fan-made film. And the guy on the right is a custom-made figure. You can probably tell that it's pretty beaten up. I have a stormtrooper that was like, it was put in some sort of what do you call that? Alcohol, just to clean it from me doing some work on it, and then it stayed there during the night, and like it's grown into it. Like, it does not look like a stormtrooper anymore. It's almost art. Like, it's that bad. So a lot of these minifigures were customized, and some were even purchased at very large amounts of money from Konami Customs, which is also a custom minifigure guy. There's, I believe, 4 or 5 custom minifigures in that collection, which I still have today. But I would say he's gotten better at his work. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Cool.
So
what do you have here?
Well, this is if probably none of you have watched any of my old videos, but this was the main guy from Squad 53, and there's a very specific reason why it's called 53. It was because there was a guy on YouTube called Spuggistu, or rather, that's his name. He did a squad called 42. I was like, I'll just increment the numbers. So this guy had been in a, if you know anything about Star Wars, there's gunships, sort of like basically just a truck full of troopers, right, on the ground, or basically just like a war helicopter that had been shut down during like 5 episodes of Squad 53. And this guy was the leader, and the entire squad died except for this guy. As you can probably tell, the helmet is sort of like it's supposed to look like it's been burned a little bit. Again, it's pretty messed up, but this guy survived, and then he got connected with the people that you see behind him, which is Omega 71. Which is another squad. Like, those squads tend to overlap each other, like you see in the Clone Wars. So that was my whole, like, finishing one series and then continuing on with another episode or series of stop motion things.
All right.
And here's some more what do you call that? Custom minifigures, or rather not custom, because most of them are shock troopers from the episode 3 battle pack thing. But the red guy in the middle with the pauldron is Captain Acros again. There's 2 custom clone troopers. One is a heavy gunner, You can probably tell that by the Republic, what do you call that? Logos on the helmet.
Okay.
Something gunner, and then there's another custom guy next to it. That's
Uh-huh.
actually a binoculars piece with a piece of paper on top glued on. So so it looks like those very advanced binoculars that they have in the Clone Wars. Um,
Yeah.
and then there's another an airborne trooper called Commander Keller behind there in the back with the blue stripes on. So
Yeah.
yeah, some it's a pretty great part of my childhood, I would say. So
Yeah, yeah, a lot of Lego enthusiasts love that Star Wars Lego, and it slowly has grown on to me now. Yeah, it's like a wild fever. I'm diving into it. In fact, I think I'm gonna build some Star Wars tonight.
all right, all right.
So
Well,
tell us about this here.
well, that is actually pretty interesting. Copenhagen has gotten some new bus stops lately. And I was like, hang on, what is this? And then I did a bit of Googling around and figured out that it was actually the company called AFAX something. They at least they managed the banners
Okay.
on the bus stops or the bus shelters.
Okay.
Then I found a resource photo from that, and then I was like, okay, gonna try to build this in Lego just to have it. I
Okay.
did that in LDD, and then I converted it to Stud.io, the
Okay.
Bricklink software. It's a bit, I would say, it's a bit more complicated to build in Stud.io, but you can make some pretty great renders, as you can see here. So like I was just trying to replicate it as much as possible. I really had to reduce the height of the those yellow parts are supposed to be different sections where they write the different train, no, not train, bus lines. So it's like one is called 501A, and the ones with A because it's A for always. And then they have different numbers and different names and different characters, and each different character and number has a specific color. Each character has a specific number to it, or not number, color. Sorry. So like the A is red, the regular ones with no character is just yellow. So there's a few different things, and then there's timetables on the side of on the side there, and then there's actually a monitor behind the mock-up Lego figure there. That's a live feed of the buses going currently at the stop and nearby. So if there's a train station behind it or near it, then it'll show data from that hotspot as well, basically. So it's we have I would say a pretty mature an established transportation system in Denmark. Our railroads are lacking, but I think the technology to be able to track where you're going is really good. So you can be like, okay, well, I want to go from Copenhagen to Odense. How long would that take? Do I have to take the fast trains? How long do I have to take to walk? When do I have to switch? All that stuff it can figure out on its own. It's really effective. So I want to bring that in there because I've actually been studying how that system works as well. So that was a really a pretty huge project for such a small amount of pieces.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So tell me how difficult is it to actually get involved in the LODD, I guess building the mock before you actually build the mock.
Well, I think it's actually been easier for me because
Hmm.
like when I commute, I can't bring Lego. Well, I've tried, but that was just to build some sets that I could find the instructions online. Then I could sort of build the things inside of a plastic bag. It's not the same, I would say. So it's just a matter of just like you do in real life.
Hmm.
Just instead of having your toolbox next to you, you have it on your computer, and then you have infinite amounts of bricks. Like those glass panes, I'm pretty sure they're gonna cost me a fortune when I find them. But like it's just a matter of trying. Like LDD is really simple, so it's just a matter of trying it out. It's really that simple.
Okay. So you actually took the real design of one of these bus stops and brought it over into the LDD with your I guess with your inspiration a little bit.
Yes, exactly. I did.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's well, this is actually the bench. That was pretty hard because like you can tell that like the glass panes are right up against it. So like you couldn't do a whole lot. So I had to find some sort of solution to make the bench look like the real one. If you go one step further and show the next picture, then people can see what I mean. That one exactly. So like you can tell that the whole the handles are pretty random made, and I wanted to replicate that, but I was really trying. But then I was like, hang on, I can do this because I just seen that new part coming out. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this. So actually, if can you go one step back so we can see the model again? There you go.
Yep.
The reason why that's a window frame, yeah. The reason why that is empty is actually because I wanted to bring in one of those window panes from like the Palace Cinema or something to put on the movies or some of the Ninjago stuff, just to have an advertisement there.
Okay.
So it's probably when I build it in real life, I'm probably gonna order one of those and see if somebody has one spare somewhere. So,
yeah, it's more realistic. You had the ad on the side of the bus. Yeah, that's realistic. That's a realistic
just like it does on the picture there, like the one that we showed before. So to add some realism to it.
Yeah. Very nice. That's right. Spot on, man. Yeah, very nice. I like it.
Thank you.
All right. Tell us about your town.
Well, this is actually a part of my town. You can see a little bit a part of the right is actually like the regular city, like the one built with road plates and stuff. I have two modulars, the detective's office and the Parisian restaurant. I haven't really gone a whole lot into that part yet, but right now I'm just building on my my train yard layout basically. So I bought the heavy haul train, I think it's called. No, something else. Either way, it's 652, and then it's 651. So it's just the two latest train sets basically. And like there's not a whole lot of track. Like I can make them go forward and backwards. That's it. That's all I have. So I have a whole lot of spare curves that are just lying in a bin because like I don't have space to make a whole layout. So I'm just I'm just making use of the space that I have, which is also like about the whole train station. I'm trying to make use of the pieces that I have and the space that I have and seeing what I can come up with instead of just going out and buying new parts that I'm probably not going to end up using for one thing, and then it's like, well, so it's pretty advanced, I would say. So
yeah, looks like a real train yard, you know.
And that picture is like back from 2016, from when I was not posting on the Bricky Place account yet. I was just trying to make something look like it was in progress. People are trying to remove some rocks. Some people are talking. There's things being moved there, trying to make some scaffolding. There's a whole lot of, but I didn't have a lot of space there. I think I only had space for just that. So that was what I was trying to build with, and just making high quality pictures of that. So like my city has actually been in progress for a year. I just haven't
Okay.
had the space for it. So I've been thinking about how I want to do my city, and this is the mayor announcing that there will be a train station in the city.
Right.
So like the city that was not even close to being finished yet. So it was like we're gonna do something to make this city something. So it was a first step into a very very large train yard for now at
Right.
least.
Okay. That's awesome too, because I guess after the show you could probably check Native's Mark and
Yeah, well that guy's
Transit
like
Bricks.
yeah, like Transit Bricks is really cool, and like Nader's Mox is on a completely different level. Like again,
Yeah.
parts
He
on
started.
hand.
He started just like how you started though, with the facade buildings on the side and stuff like that. So, and he just developed them over time.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and
It's
so it's a work in progress, like you say.
yeah, it's like Jank Briggs says, it's never done. It's just you just keep on adding small stuff all the time
Hmm.
and tear some things
Absolutely.
down, figure out whatever works for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
oh that picture. Um, well, I added that in for a verse, or rather, I sent that to you for a very specific reason.
Okay.
That guy's the waiter from the Parisian restaurant,
Okay.
and that building was actually the thing that got me out of my dark age. So,
Oh, okay. See, I have a good friend holding on to a Parisian restaurant for me. I need to hurry up and get the money dropped down because I definitely want to get it.
yeah, I would say so. Yep.
So what was about this build that got you to come back to us?
Well, it was actually more of a visiting a toy store again. I think
Okay.
I was out to pick up some Duplo for my nephew, who had just been born. Like I'm too early with Lego stuff. Like
Hmm.
I can't wait until he gets older and can see all the stuff. But like I walked past the Star Wars section because I was like, yeah, I know everything there is to know about Star Wars, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, and then I was like, hang on, this building, like I was used to Lego building like have buildings, just like facades, but not like at the level of detail at this. And I was like, Mom, this is pretty bad. We have to get that Duplo set now. Like I can't stay in here. That like that's too tempting. And then like I think a month went by, and then I bought it, and I was like, and my girlfriend was like, "Oh no," and then I was like, "I'm sorry, but I need to get all my Lego from my parents right now," and then it kind of exploded. So that was about a year ago.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what are we looking at here?
Well, that is actually an inspiration for the roof design for the train station. It's pretty interesting.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Um, the city that I live in has they have basically dug a huge hole to make
Hmm.
space for public transit, like metros and stuff. So
Hmm.
like there's you have to walk around a whole lot of stuff, and I just got a new doctor. So I was
Okay.
walking around, and I was like, I was writing to Briggs to go on Google Hangouts, and I was like, hang on a minute, I just saw this. Shouldn't we try to do something like that? Because we'd really been struggling with the whole roof design. Like most of the design was done, but I was like, hang on, I have some brown 1x2x3
Hmm.
um slopes. Maybe I can use those. So
Okay.
like that's when that whole idea started for the roof at least. So
Hmm. All
so
right.
like
Let's
it's
see.
again everyday things that just comes to mind.
Right. Yeah. You walk by something and You know, like you just pick up on it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of catch myself doing that too. Like if I'm in the big city, all I see is end up seeing is just Lego.
Yeah, that's pretty bad when that happens. Like when when you're at, or rather when you're talking to your girlfriend, it's just like, if you're gonna say something Lego, then you shouldn't talk. And I'm like, okay, I won't say anything then.
One quiet conversation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so tell us what you're creating up here on the left. It looks like one of
Well,
your train stations.
that is one of the first drafts from Briggs to go for the train station.
Okay.
I think that's also a combination of some ideas that we did together, but I'm not quite sure at this point because we changed up so many things.
Okay.
You can see the clock tower is a bit off. You'll see that later. The roof is different. There's the whole, like, there's a glass, basically a glass roof on top to cover from rain, and so like the passengers can stay there and be comfortable instead of getting wet in the pouring rain, right? So
right.
And I wanted, or rather, Bricks to Go wanted that on both sides, and then I realized I was actually running out of parts. So I was like, okay, can we just do this on one side? And he was like, sure. So fortunately, it was my build after all. Yeah, but like, I was like, I have to do this on one side. Which side should I compromise on? And I was like, if it was me standing and waiting for the train, I would not be happy to be like getting wet just because I'm waiting for the train. Like, then I would have like going inside the train station and waiting instead of like standing at the platform and then getting wet.
Okay.
So
very true.
And here's some work in progress of that. Yeah.
Okay.
So as you can see there, that like the those parts, like the 1x4s and the 1x2s, they're like they're a little short there, right? So there weren't really many left, or rather there was at that point. But on the next picture, as you can see, there's less of them because I had to take some of them and use for the whole the exposed bricks basically around the windows.
Okay.
You can see like the 1x3s, the 1x3 tiles on the sides there. I also had to compromise that side. Because of one, I didn't have those blue parts in gray. So I had to take down that part basically, that roof. Like, again, just prioritizing where the cover for the pedestrians and the passengers for the trains, rather than just people standing outside.
I got you. Okay.
And there's some more roof design, or rather clock tower design. You can actually see there's a different roof design there as well. That's 2x2x3 slopes on their sides, because I also have a lot of those from that brick box I was talking about previously. Like, I just got random parts, and like I just have to make use of them. Like, I have a huge. If you go on Instagram, you can see that I have a pick a brick cup, like the large one, filled with golden chests, like just completely useless parts. Like, I could make a gold digger shop, but that would basically be all. Then I have some golden leaves, so I'm probably gonna do some sort of gold mock at some point.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Right.
So right there you can see like the train station, the finished train station. The roof was resolved recently. And you can see the clock tower also changed design because, again, I didn't have the black parts, so I had to try something else, and I didn't have enough of those windows. It was causing the whole clock tower to be unstable. So I was like, oh no, what do I do? Well, let's just keep the rest of those things. And the cool thing about the train station is that like one of the people from our log actually pointed out that it was too tall compared to how long it was, and I was like, well, actually, you could just take off the middle part and just put the roof back on, just like you can do with the modulars. So it's actually fine. If people don't like it in the area, I can just take that part off and it'll be fine.
Okay. Definitely, I guess here's some of the technique that you use.
Exactly. From like the first picture, that's the inspiration, and that's what I ended up with. So it's basically 1x2 plates on top, and then on the bottom, and top and bottom, and you just keep going. So
okay. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so what are you working on here?
Well, that is actually interesting because when you're working with different width of train, basically. So like Nader's Mox has a very large train, and then there's the Lego ones that are only 6 wide. The problem is that if you're a Lego figure, if you build your train platform to be close to like the Nader's Mox train, it's going to be farther away from the standard Lego width. So this is basically a flexible train platform that can move out using those I can't remember what they're called. Basically those horizontal hinge pieces, I think it is. The 1x8. We have a picture of that later. But it basically, you just move it out. So like the skinnier trains can have a platform, and then you can move the platform back in when you have some larger trains that don't need a lot of space. That way the minifigures don't end up on the rails and get run over by trains because they fall off when they walk out the door. So I was trying to solve not a problem at all, because people were not walking out of the trains at all, but it's sort of more of the things I was talking about previously, the whole modularverse thing, and we want to make space for people's larger trains than just 6 wide, maybe 10, maybe, I don't know, 14 wide, maybe. People can do that too, or in our layouts, we're making space for that. So it's like, it's as much as basically making space for larger trains. There you can see like the 1x4 and the 1x2s times 3 in there. So it's basic. It's pretty basic Lego stuff, and there's some snot techniques in there to make the yellow stripe work. So it looks like a warning stripe, so that you shouldn't cross it when there's no train. Like those sort of things. So it's pretty easy. And then I made it so that you can make modules of it, so that you can connect them just like you do with the modulars.
Okay.
So this is a picture. Yep. Sorry. This is the train platform being extended out as much as it can on the train station. And it's right next to the rail right there. And then there's probably another picture where it's yeah, there you go. So that's like where it's what do you call that? Extended, not as far, so it's skinnier, maybe for a larger train. So that they can can park up next to the same train station without looking weird, or somebody falling between slipping through the cracks, right? So
okay.
Just getting some water here. This is my what do you call that? I think it's called the wheel car. Basically a container transport on wheels for trains, which is about 8 or 10 wide, which can drive up to that. It was just to have an example of a train that could drive up next to that. And then I also have an example picture of the high-speed passenger train right next to it, which is right there. Yep. So you can see like the you can see on the side there that there's a lot of space. Like it's completely exposed there, but that was completely on purpose, just to show how it works, and like just to see how it works with different trains. And I think it's going to be really interesting to when I'm going to that expo with my lug, because there's a guy who has built the what is that called? Big boy something huge train, basically, and I think it's like 12 wide. So just to be able to put that next to it and just be like, yeah, people can still get in and out. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that's an exciting time. Very exciting time.
Yeah. So this is the thing right next to it. This is my cargo terminal that connects right next to the train station awkwardly, but that's how it's gonna have to be for now. When you don't have a lot of space, you just gotta work with what you have, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
This is basically you can see the holes there for the Moduverse things to be able to connect between. I made them into 16 by 32 modules. And then I actually have extended that with another 4, because that's the depth of my basically the space that I have on my layout. So I have 16 by 32 plus 4, so it's like half of a module. So
I got you.
So it's that just to be able to make sure that the trains could pass, being very wide as well, and probably being pretty tall too. I just wanted to make sure that I had that space, and I'm probably going to be able to make up so that it actually makes sense. Like just add some more parts to the end of it. So like it's gonna end up being 2 modules in length when you compare it so that you can put it next to other people's things. This is not gonna be like 4 awkward bricks just sticking out. So but it won't be able to fit on my layout, but when I go to expos, it's gonna be possible. Here I added the tiles onto the tracks. I realized that I didn't have to do all the pretty ballasting that I was doing on the other. I was doing there before. So and then I started to add. You can see the large slope piece. I added that, and that actually interfered with the crane. I realized that. So so I had to move that, and also if you look at that, that's some 2x4 tiles, and there's only 3 of them. And if you try to take some of the new Lego trucks, they're actually 8 wide because of their side mirrors. So it wouldn't actually be able to fit right there, which was the intent, so that you would drive up your truck and your train, and then you would have a forklift or a crane that would then transport the containers from the train onto the truck. But that would not be possible because it was not large enough. So I had to extend it. Now you can see I extended it there, and then I actually made that platform, move that platform to be on the side, so that there would be more space. If there's a truck with a trailer on the back of it, there's not going to be a whole lot of space for that guy to be able to sneak behind. If there's also, like, you can see the barrier, the red barrier, so you wouldn't be able to like drive that thing up there. So I had to extend it even more, and then I actually realized, just when I had finished those 2 things, like almost finished them like completely, then I realized that like my lug, as you can see, like the ballasting has changed between the first picture and the picture that you see now. So like they had added 1 more tile, so I had to take those 2 modules apart, like those huge things, just to add 1 more tile in between to make sure that it fits, and then put it all back together again.
Right. Yeah, man.
Like if you ever do something, make sure that you do it right the first time, so that you don't have to go
Yeah,
back and do that. Oh,
yeah. That's a tough learning curve.
that was so bad. But that's this
Mm-mm.
is the finished cargo terminal, and that's how it looks
Okay.
out without any, or rather, it's not finished. I'm still missing a lot of the tiles, as you can see on the picture on the right. Still
Hmm.
missing a lot of tiles, but it's getting there. And like,
Yeah.
I just wanted to get a picture without all the trains and the cargo trucks, because you can see that on Instagram. It's fine. Like most of these pictures have not been posted on Instagram yet, at least. So like I just wanted to give you something something different than other than what you can see on the Instagram page, at least for now.
Okay. Okay. All right, folks. That is on the icebox with Iceberg Bricks. My guest is the one and only Bricky Place, and he just laid down the law on his train town that he's got. See if I can stop that. All right, and we're back to you.
Well then,
So, what'd you learn during that build during that time? With
um,
your train station.
well, like during the train station or just the whole layout in itself.
Yeah, during the train station. What'd you learn?
Um, well, that you can need a whole lot of parts, no matter what you're doing. um, and like I was really happy that I had those clockwork pieces, because the mock would look so naked without them.
Hmm.
I got them, like, again in the brick box. I got like 6 of them, and they're like from Big
Okay.
Ben sets or something. So they're pretty expensive to get a hold of. But I
Hmm.
think it was more of a, all right, challenge yourself. What do you have, and
Hmm.
what pieces does this set contain? And
Hmm.
like the whole, like, collaborating with Bricks to Go was also like a challenge due to time zone differences. But we also, I think we built up a pretty good rhythm of like when he was at work or when he had lunch, he could
Hmm.
talk to me while I was just about getting done with work, and then I could go home, do some adjustments, then I could go to sleep. Then he could get the adjustments through email, and then he could continue during while I was asleep. Then when I got done, he'd send me an email with the revisions, so we could
Hmm.
keep going for like a week, just always revisiting and doing
Okay.
different revisions of the whole project, which was really interesting. And then I finished it like last weekend,
Hmm.
which was like, after such a long time, it's finally great to have to get done with it. Like, it was quote unquote done for a long
Right.
time, but it was missing like just the last tiles. I was working on some very specific design on top of the like the slope roof was one thing, but like it has a little
Hmm.
bit of a curve on top, which I could not really figure out how I was gonna do. So I just left it
Okay.
like that for like weeks. So I finally figured that out because I had some pieces lying around, of course.
Mhm.
And then I figured out how to make use of them. I was like, dude, I finally figured it out. And he was like, yes, finally. So yeah, that was
That's
like,
awesome.
it was amazing. Like, to finally
That's a
have
good
that done.
collaboration.
Yeah,
That's a very good collaborative effort between you and Bricks to Go. That's
and
pretty good.
that also shows like what you can do through LDD. Like, just two people that have not met each other ever in real life can be able to contribute to things across nations, across like countries. It's
Right.
amazing. And
Yeah.
different areas of the world. That to me is like, just like I was doing the whole stop motion thing. I was aware of it, but I still think it still impresses me today what you can do
Hmm.
uh, through the internet. Like, I don't know, like, how old you are, but like back in when you were my age, that
Mm-hmm.
probably wasn't a thing.
Yeah, you're right. I think around the time I think AOL just started the dial-up, and they made AOL Instant Messenger, so that was just starting when I was
Oh
in.
man.
I think I was in a freshman in high school when that was just starting. So yeah, it's definitely changed, and it's just how I met my best guys. You know, MD, CKB, and BOT, and No More. It was through the web. Somebody posted up an Instagram pic saying that they're going to be in Philly, and I went to Philly and met, you know, all of them. And so yeah, I think that the love for Lego is definitely universal, man. It's white, it's black, it's fat, it's skinny, it's man, it's woman, it's child, it's adult. It's one big happy family. We just got to remember to, you know, leave it the way we found it, which is in good condition.
Exactly. Or even like we say at work, leave the code in better condition than how you received it. Which is like just making it a great impact while you're working on something, and then leaving it at the great impact.
Right.
So always doing something to contribute and making things better in some way.
So how old are you, sir, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I'm 21.
21. Okay, so all right. So now how I'm gonna phrase this next question.
Oh,
so I usually do a past future thing. I usually do a past future question, right?
Yeah.
And so your question is that you know, you're 21, you're a web designer, right? So now you own your own web design company. In fact, you got Bill Gates beat, and you become this millionaire. So what do the 21-year-old you tell this 50-year-old man? That's you.
What do I tell Bill Gates?
No, what do you tell your 50-year-old self?
Oh. Well, I sure you hope you made a lot, like made the most of it, because like you probably won't be able to get back to like my age. So like I sure hope you traveled as much as you thought you would, because I'm thinking a lot about traveling. I'm trying to save up as much as possible, but that thing over there is sort of taking all my money. But I'm trying, I would say, and like discovering a lot of the different possibilities there are in the world that other than just Lego, because like there's huge opportunities in the world, like just me being a web developer is a huge opportunity. Like being able to walk in Japan is a huge opportunity. Just going out and exploring. Like I know it's cool to be at home and doing the train stuff and doing all that, but I think it's also healthy and important. That's also why the exhibitions are really great. Is that you're also out and exploring, discovering different cultures, which is also like Briggs to go is really different in culture compared to me, and like as you learned about his dad who lives in Japan. Like I would really like to go there. Like I've been thinking about that for a long time, and I was like, could we go together or something? Like if he's just going there after all, then like might as well do it together. So we'll see. Like just making a trip out of it. So
very awesome, very awesome. Don't forget that perseverance key once you become 50 and wealthy.
Yeah.
Being a web developer. Don't forget the perseverance, because that's what's got you there.
Exactly.
All right, folks. Thanks for watching another edition of On the Icebox with Iceberg Bricks. This was the impromptu show, and I appreciate the support. Please like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Please go to Instagram and go visit Bricky Place.
Yes.
Definitely reach out to that Brick brother and inspire him, young guy. So, you know, the old heads like myself, definitely talk to the guy and give the guy some pointers. Hand him, send him to the right direction. If you know about trains, mocks, and stuff like that. Definitely, he's definitely a receptible guy. So let's help this guy grow because he's one of us.
Yep.
So with that, I bid you peace, love, and Lego. You have a good night. Have a good weekend.